Good day, students. Welcome to Religious, Moral, and Life Skills Education 2. This presentation is basically for the August examination. My name is Martha Nitembu, and I'm your tutor for this specific module. Welcome once more. Let us start with the introduction. I will discuss some of the content that you need to specifically pay more attention on, and the rest of the content you have to read for yourself in the study guide. I will just pick few things that you need to pay more emphasis on. By now you should have a good idea of what this subject is all about, because you have completed an assignment successfully and you have studied the guide and familiarized yourself with the content. So you need now to, at least by this time, know what is where or what topic is covered in what unit. Please, you need to pay attention to the whole guide, the whole content is specified in your curriculum. And if you have any specific questions, please contact me for help. I will be able to cover everything in this at this specific time. We have few learning hints that I want to share with you at this point in time. For example, before you start studying the actual content that is covered in your guide, please first you need to acquaint yourself with the learning outcomes. The learning outcomes are found at the beginning of each and every unit of your study guide. The learning outcomes will give you an overview of what the unit is all about. So some of you usually used to call me and say, I can't find whatever topic, or there's a question in the assignment, or there's something that I don't know where to find. So when you just read the learning outcomes at the beginning of each unit, and the table of contents, which gives you specific topics that are covered within that specific unit, then you will not really experience such problems. Therefore, my emphasis here is now for you to look at the learning activities which follows the learning outcomes, because you need to start practicing with those learning activities in your guide. You need to do those activities to the best of your ability before you looking at the answers. We all know that the answers are somewhere there in your guide, but I don't want you to start comparing the activities to the answers at this point in time, but it's more advisable for you to complete the activities. Pretend as there are no answers somewhere, and try to answer them as best as you can on your own knowledge, on the content that you read, and forget about the answers that are already provided. Once you complete with your own answers, then you need to go back and compare your answers to the answers that are already in the guide, and see how far, whether your answers are more or less the same as the ones that are already provided, or maybe you got lost somewhere, or you missed something that is very important that you need to take care of in the examination. So once you prepare as such and read and familiarize yourself with the whole content, I'm sure you will pass the examination. Take note again that you need to study the whole guide, and not only topics that will be covered or that we will discuss in this presentation. During examination, make sure that you know what's expected of you when answering the questions. Read through the verbs, thinking processes at the beginning of the study guide. Those verbs, we all know them. They are, for example, define terms, describe something, explain, compare. There are a lot of them. State, mention, etc. There are quite a lot, but you need to pay attention. If the question is saying define, then it means you have to define that specific term or that concept, and you don't need to talk about other things. If the question is asking you to state, you just need to state specifically, straightforward, state the answers, and you don't need to go around and put in a lot of things that are not necessary. Just state what is requested. If it's describe as it is. if it's explain, you need to explain in detail something. Critical analyze, you need to analyze a certain situation. Those are the verbs that you need to pay more attention, because most of you, based on my previous experience, misunderstood. Some people misunderstood the verbs, and at the end of the day, they don't know exactly what they are required to do. This study guide consists of 10 units, and all of them will be covered in the examination. That's very, very important. The study guide consists of 10 units, and all of them will be covered in the examination. So meaning that you need to study all 10 units. I'm going to discuss some units separately and stress the most important facts. However, I will not cover everything, and you need to read the rest on your own. Know the facts by heart, if that is possible, and where you cannot remember exactly what is in the study guide, use your own understanding. How do you understand that concept or that term, or how to explain something? Because this subject is more or less, it's about the life skills, things that we experience on our daily basis, on our daily life, things that are happening in our societies. So you can relate, you can take the content from the study guide and relate it to your own experience as a human being, as a Namibian, as an adult, as a teacher, as a member of the society. Remember that when answering a question, facts from different parts of the study guide can be applicable. So you are not limited to one unit. A question can cover content from 2 or 3 units. You just need to read all the related information and couple it together. In the question paper, you will find some short answer questions. Short answer questions are, for example, true or false statements, which will count 1 mark each. Other short question answers can be questions counting only 2 marks, for example, the definitions or the short descriptions of concepts, or matching the words to the descriptions, etc. Those are the short kind of questions. Match, maybe you are given a description, and then you are given some concept. Then you need now to match which concept or which term is relating to what description, or talking about that, which description. Then you match them. Or true or false questions that you need to read and think for yourself whether the statements are true or false. Those are the short kind of questions, counting probably 1 or 2 marks each. They will be there in the question paper, and usually they are from all units. They are not from one unit, but you will find maybe question 1, with the first statement of true or false is from 1 unit, and then the second one is from another unit, and just like that. Let's start with unit 1, what you need to pay more attention on. This unit is all about the aspects of belonging. For example, we need to study the religious leader have an important role and function in the community. So what are the roles? What are the typical tasks of a religious leader? That is covered very well in unit 1.8. I don't know what type of material you have, but if you might have a study guide, you might have a Kindle or whatever material that you have, but according to this subject, this is in unit 1.8. So the typical tasks, the main roles and functions of a religious leader. Some of those roles are: religious leaders are expected to guide and instruct members of their faith, counsel and encourage people to be aware of their social and religious responsibilities, participate in and contribute to the social and welfare activities in the community, plan ceremonies and services for their members, conduct services for public worship, and administer sacraments. So it's quite there are quite a lot. I didn't put all of them here, but if you read that 1.8 in unit 1, then you will understand exactly what are the main roles and the typical tasks. The other topic that you need to emphasize or you need to pay more attention on is the importance of controlling one's feelings and measure how to achieve it. Be able to give us examples or explanations on how to get our feelings under control. As human beings, how can we control our own feelings? That is covered in details in Unit 1.7, which is about our feelings. For example, here I just put few hints on that specific topic. Our feelings are what helps us to communicate with and have relationships with others. The way in which we express our feelings can be positive or negative in terms of how the feelings affect us. This means that we need to take responsibilities for ourselves and the way we behave. Those are some of the hints. Feelings can be double-edged, and so on. So you can read 1.7 in detail. The importance of controlling some feelings is set out very well there. And remember that firstly, the feelings can cause harm to others, and we need to take responsibilities for the way we behave, and we need to be there for others. We need to support each other, because we are created to be part of the families and communities and societies, and part of the country, and part of the world. Feelings may flatten and sometimes overwhelm others, and fear may cause others to freeze and freak out. We need to control our feelings to make sure that we don't flatten other people and so on. If you are close, please think of something else. This will calm you, something that will calm you down. The important things to do or to think, something different to distract your emotions from being close or being angry or being something that will help you not to react unnecessarily or not to regret your feelings later on when you come back to normal. Count down to 10 if you can. Close your eyes, imagine something different, stop breathing for 5 minutes. Take a deep breath also, sometimes it will help you to cool down, etc. Let us look at people's attitude and values in relation to elders in the community. Pay attention to the similarities and differences between people's attitudes, values. Overall, there are quite a few cultures in the world that have always respected their elders, no matter what age or condition their body or their mind are. This is also covered in your study guide. That is probably Unit 1 or 2. Then let us move to Unit 3, the circled issues. Make sure to know what this term means. It's circled. It's in Unit 3, 2.1. And what A, D, and B, C stands for, it's in Unit 3.1. Then in the rest of the unit, it's important to look at different circled books of certain beliefs. Those books, we know them. For Christianities, we have a Bible. For Islamics or Muslim, we have a Quran. And then for Hinduism or Hindus, we have Vedas and etc. The value of the circled songs and the religious meaning of water. Again, study the feedback on learning activities at the end of Unit 3 for a better overview of what the unit is all about. In Unit 4, the meaning and activities of a Christian Christmas in the Namibian community. That is well covered in Unit 4.2. I put down few hints here or few facts here on what are the meaning and what are the activities. Remember, there are two things here. Number one, the meaning of the Christian Christmas, and number two, the activities that usually takes place on the Christmas time or on the Christmas day, according to Christians. Today, Christmas is one of the most important Christian celebrations. So it's well known, it's a common knowledge that Christmas is a celebration, it's a festival season, as we usually call it. You find people in a very good mood, partying and so on. So what is the meaning? Christmas is the day to remember that Messiah or Jesus was born into our world and changed so many lives. That is a a meaning of Christmas according to the Christianities. That's what Christians believe, that it's a day to remember the birthday of our Jesus Christ. He was born and came to the world to change so many lives, including our own lives. Christian families and friends come together to celebrate. Now we come to the activities of the Christmas with food. They celebrate with food, gifts, cards, joy, give each other love, and so on. Some of the other activities that usually takes place, people go out to church. Sometimes they go there midnight to celebrate the Christmas day. People will buy Christmas trees and Santa Cruz and whatever. A lot of activities usually takes place according to the Christmas to the Christians. You also know in your own life how do you celebrate Christmas as if you are a Christian. And if you are not a Christian, ask the Christians. You can basically have a short interview with a certain Christian and find out what do you do on that specific day. How do you celebrate? How do you understand the day? What is the meaning of this specific day to you? Unit 5. Suggest some possible causes for bullying from your personal understanding and summarize the effects. Remember, if you look at this sentence, it's covering two main things. Number 1, suggest possible causes of bullying, why people are bullying others. And the second one, you need to summarize the effects of bullying. The causes, the possible causes of bullying, plus the effects of bullying. Those are two things coupled together in one question or in one sentence. And I start with the possible causes. Possible causes of bullying can be parents pass their own prejudices to their children. Derogatory talking about others is copied by children. So if, for example, a certain parent is gossiping or is, talking negatively about another person while the children are there listening, then what do you expect those children to do? When they go to school and they find kids of that specific person that their parent was talking negatively about, then obviously they might start bullying them and say, yeah, my father said your mother did what, and so on. That's kind of bullying. They will bully others based on what their parents have said. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Parents are examples is how to solve problems and conflicts. So parents must not try to create problems and cause bullying, or they need to solve problems in the society and conflicts when it erupts. Children that are frustrated, hungry, powerless will use physical force. So one possible cause of bullying is that when children are frustrated, maybe parents are forever fighting at home, or when children are hungry, that there are no food at home, then they feel powerless among others. They usually tend, to physical abuse, like use physical force to fight with others at school, to do all the negative things. So encourage parents to be good parents, to give good examples to their children, to take care of their children, make sure that they provide food, all the necessary basic needs to their children, and motivate them to be good citizens in the future. Otherwise, they will feel powerless, feel useless, and turn to physical force and start abusing others. Bullying can be caused by embarrassment and anxiety among children. So sometimes when a child feels embarrassed, maybe a child did something very bad in class and the whole class start laughing, then that child might pick one or two children in the class and pick a fight, like, yeah, you guys were laughing when I did ABC, or when I couldn't sing properly in a class, or I draw a very funny picture. So they will pick a fight even during break or so. You need to take care of those kind of embarrassment. And as a teacher, don't let children be embarrassed in front of others. If there's something specific that you need to discuss it in private with that specific child. Poverty and peer pressure can also lead to bullying. These are some of the possible causes. I'm not saying these are the causes only, but these are some of the possible ones. You can probably add more or study more. As I put the unit here, 5.1.2. Poverty, peer pressure when children are forced by others to go bully. You remember, especially in most primary schools, children, once they are in the senior classes, then they feel like they are seniors and they can bully the newcomers, and they can bully the young ones that are starting school and so on. That can be peer pressure because friends are influencing them to do those things. Summarize the second part of the question. Summarize the effects of bullying. This can be the effects of bullying in general can be that some victims of bullying experience immediate mental or physical health-related consequences. They may not be mentally fit anymore. All they will think about is to do bad things, to commit crime. Maybe when they grow up, when they stop bullying, and bullying can lead to crime. If they are bullying, maybe beating others, it can be a case. It can lead to a certain to a case. Long-term effects can be depression, feelings that a person is worthless, and the effect can last for a very long time. So a person can feel depressed if they were bullied and so on. These are the victims now. In the social area, victims have few friends or none. So if you become a victim of bullying, then at the end of the day, you may not even have friends at school or in a society because nobody wants to associate with you. When victims are sad or lonely, this can affect how they perform in school. So that's why most parents pick up this issue of bullying, because they know exactly that it can affect their children's performing in school. Victims often earn lower grades due to poor attendance. They will not be willing to attend school regularly, so they will be absent now and then. Stress can go up because every time they are afraid that something will happen to them, others will bully them, and they will worry too much. Those are just few hints. Now let us move to Unit 6, where happiness and inner peace is discussed. In this specific unit, please pay more attention to Unit 6.7, where they discuss about the different religious perspectives and beliefs of sins. How different religions believe, what are their beliefs when it comes to sins? How Christians view sins or believe what sin is about in Christian religion, in Hinduism, in Islamic, etc. Unit 7 is all about children's rights, but also their responsibilities. For example, pay attention to 7.1, which is about economic and social rights. What are the children's economic and social rights? The rights to have an adequate standard of living, adequate food, housing, water, sanitation, the rights to have at work, the rights to education. So children have the right to go to school. It's a right. It's a social right that they are given by the state. To get enough food, to have shelter, which is housing, water, sanitation, etc. You can read about that on read Unit 7.1. Next one, how can you teach children to say no and avoid improper proposals, activities, or events? This is more discussed more in Unit 7.6. Teach children what kind of touching is appropriate and the inappropriate. So you as a teacher need to differentiate the appropriate touching and the inappropriate touching to the children. Show kids how to say no and get away fast if someone does or say something that makes them feel uncomfortable. So this is all about protection, security for the children. What things they can agree, and we know they are kids. Like in this case, in a junior primary school, they are probably less than 10 years old. And a person can come in and say, oh, I will drop you at home. Oh, I will go buy you a KFC, or I will give you sweets. Let's go somewhere. So now you need to teach children how to say no to those kind of proposals that are not appropriate. And what is an appropriate touching if someone is touching that specific child, and what is not appropriate. People who had kids often scare them by saying they will hurt their parents or other loved ones if they tell them, and so on. They usually try that. You need now to teach your children how to expose those people, how to give the information, why they must not be quiet when something bad happened to them. Read that in detail, 7.6, that's the unit number. Let us move to unit 8 quickly. This is a very practical unit because it's all about you and self-image. And it's also about marriage, divorce, and having a family, all those things. You need to look at the tips on how you can build your self-esteem as a person. How can you build your self-esteem? We all know what you need to do. You need to be strong, you need to be happy, you need to take care of your body, you need to think positively, you need to associate with people who are contributing to your growth, who have something good to share or to teach you. Don't be at the wrong places with the wrong people, and so on. The other thing, the benefits others will receive from having and maintaining a good relationship with you, which is 8.7.2. You need to have a strong, positive interpersonal relationship, which is essential to achieve our success. Trust, you need to have a long-term relationship, which is based on trust, acceptance, support, etc. The difference between curriculum vitae and the resume is also very important. You need to look at that. And the difference is quite straightforward. Resume is a 1 or 2 page summary of your skills, your experience, and your education. It does not really cover a lot of things. It's a straightforward, short document, and the goal of a resume is to be brief and concise at what you want the reader to read. And because the reader will not have a lot of time or enough time to spend on your document, then you need to go specific and go straight and state the most important things. Your own skills, what are you capable of doing? Your experience, what you have done in your life, your work experience, your whatever that you want to put down. Your education, what qualifications do you have in what, and where did you achieve them, and so on. While a curriculum vitae, which we call a CV, is a longer document, usually of 2 or more pages, more detailed synopsis. It includes a summary of your educational, your academic background. In a CV, you can go in details like, I was at whatever university, I did this specific course, it took me 3 or 5 years, these are the list of the modules that I have completed, or a short summary of the main things that you have done, or the main things that you learned within that specific course or that specific program. Apart from your educational background and academic, so what are your teaching and your research experience? If you are a teacher, maybe you were a teacher at another school before, you had other responsibilities, maybe you were head of department, or if you are into research, if you are more advanced in academic, maybe you did research, state the research that you have done. Maybe you can even put a little bit of the findings that your research found. The publications, if you have published anything. The presentations that you gave, public presentations and so on. Public lectures that you have given. Awards that you got. Honors, affiliations, if you are affiliated to certain organizations and bodies. You can give all details in your curriculum vitae. But then in the resume, you need to be brief and summarize, and it should be a 1 or 2 page document. The importance of eye contact is also very important. Listening skills and professionalism during an interview. For example, the question can come and say, what are the importance of eye contact? listening skills and professionalism during an interview. You need to tell us that. We don't want to hear about other things that you need to take care of during interview, but specifically those three. For example, when it comes to the listening skills, we can say make sure that you let the interviewer complete his sentence. Don't interrupt. The person is talking. The question is not. The person did not finish. Asking you the question, and you jump in already, and you feel like you want to start responding. Give him time, him or her time. Let the person finish the question, and then you start answering. Show interest in what he or she is saying. Encourage him to talk and ask more questions. Be positive, be natural. Don't be arrogant. Don't be aggressive. Just be calm, be yourself. On the eye contact, these are just few hints that I'm giving, or few factors. You need to read the rest and Google the rest and be prepared. Eye contact, you need to maintain your eye contact with the interviewer. Looking away continuously suggests disinterest. Like you are not interested in what these people are asking you. Or maybe you are not even interested in the position at all. Looking down makes you appear insecure and shy. Don't look down. I know this takes us back to culture, because in some culture, people grow up understanding that you don't look other people into the eye, like straight in the eyes. You need to look down. But when it comes to these professional things, you don't need to look down. Look at the person. Listen. Show that you are interested in, and you are not shy. You don't feel insecure. Put your culture aside and apply the normal behaviors here. Professionalism, please be professional. Respect the interviewers. Remember the interview boundaries always. Don't be on your phone while people are asking you questions and you are just texting or maybe chatting with someone on your cell phone while you are in the interview. That will show disrespect, unprofessional, the way, take care also of your dressing code that day. How do you present yourself? Make sure that you bath in the morning or before you go to the interview and you apply, be professional. That's the message. In Unit 8 again, some points you need to how to put your CV together. We talked about the difference between the CV and the resume. Now, how do you put your CV together? Things that you need to take into consideration. Make sure your personal details are at the top always, followed by a summary of your strengths and qualities. What are your qualities as a human being? Ideally, this should not exceed 50 words or more. So it should be a short summary of your strengths, things that you know the best, that you can do, and things that you are good at. List your qualifications and places of study chronologically, beginning with your most recent qualifications. Don't start with the qualification that you earned in the 1980s, but start with the recent one, the final one, the one that you, not the highest one, but the one that you earned now. Going down the years back up to whatever you've started. List any relevant training courses you have attended. If you have attended a health and safety specialist short course, if you have attended the research methodology short course, if you have attended a custom care short course, whatever short course that you did. So list them. They are also very important. Detail your career background chronologically as well, beginning with your most recent job first. What job you were doing before, or what job are you doing currently if you are working, and then down to the job that you did last. So going down from the recent one down to the first one. CV, you need to pay attention to those things: personal details, education and qualifications, work experience, we know hobbies, references, etc. The last two units, which is units 9 and 10, are practical hints on how they give practical hints on how to teach religious and moral education for grade 2 and grade 3 at schools respectively. So when you have to present a lesson, for instance, for grade 2 and grade 3 learners on a specific topic, there are certain things to take into account. I know most of you are struggling with the lesson plans. I got that experience. I saw what you did in your assignments and in the previous exam. A proper lesson consists of an introduction, a presentation, summaries, and summarize all those things that should be there. The lesson must have objectives and suitable teaching materials, as well as the activities that will take place during that specific lesson. So those are a few things that you need to pay attention. You need to read very well Unit 9 and 10. Very important. It's very important to know the teaching the theme of children's rights and responsibilities at home, and the responsibilities at school. It's 9.8. Pay more attention on that. Read them and study them in detail, and know the lesson objectives and identify the suitable teaching materials that will fit, as well as the activities that will fit that specific topic of rights and responsibilities of children. In conclusion, giving specific attention to the content of this, give specific attention to the content of this content class. So please pay attention to the units and the topics that I specified in this presentation. But that does not limit you to that content only. You have to study the whole guide, but pay more attention, pay special attention. I'm repeating that. Pay special attention to the content of this content class, or of this presentation, which we are concluding now. Good luck with this. Start early, study every day. Don't say, I still have a month to go, I still have, still 3 weeks before the exam, why should I study now? Start studying right away, today. Acquaint yourself with the whole work, enjoy your studies, and make the most of it. I thank you.